Today's conversation invites us to look at karma in a very different way. Hello, I'm Tatiana, and you're listening to the Conscious Diva podcast. Joining me today is Yael Eini, a spiritual teacher and author of a powerful new book on karma called Karma Healing, Unblock Your Life on the Soul Level. In this episode, we explore what karma really is and how it shows up in our relationships, patterns, and life experiences. If you've ever wondered why certain themes repeat in your life or how to move beyond old cycles with more grace and awareness, then this conversation is for you. And if you enjoyed this episode, please write me a review or leave me a comment. You can also watch this episode on YouTube and connect with me on Instagram at The Conscious Diva. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here today. And I have your book, which is really fascinating. Karma Healing, Unblock Your Life on the Soul Level. So much to talk about.
Yes, I can see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I was making notes to ask you questions, it's like, I don't want to it's hard not to talk about all of the different chapters, all the different things in the book, but at the same time, you want people to go out and buy the book. But there's just so much in here because I think many people are fascinated with karma, with, past lives, with reincarnation, how to clear their karma, also how to just connect with the Akashic records, all kinds of things. So, soul contracts, vows, curses, all kinds of stuff, right? So, I did make a list, and if you're happy to discuss.
Let's go with your list.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so what is karma on a simple level?
So karma is action. The word karma means action. And now in a way you can put anything you want on it. So we tend, even in our tradition, it's you eat what you baked, right? So this is a different way to say karma. We don't have one word for that, but the concept I was raised on that concept. So we have it, but in different words. But I see karma also as all those past life memories that are holding us back. Or it can be like either that or the motivation to move forward. So we are here to develop as souls, not as humans. Hopefully, as humans, we also will develop, but we are here to develop as souls. So every obstacle you go through as a human, the soul develops from it. Also us as humans, but one day we will die. So the memory will be in the soul realm. So I followed Lee Carroll, he's a channeler for crying. So I followed him for 20 years. And whenever he spoke about it's time to drop karma, something within me just vibrated. Yes, 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 And he's the one that actually saying it's like an engine for development. And one of the things about dropping karma is finding another engines. We don't need those past life, those trauma from past life, or all the things that we couldn't succeed in past life that are like hunting us. We don't need them to motivate us anymore.
Well, so, we have that kind of that meme or that saying, karma's going to come back and bite you on the ass, right?
Yeah, karma is a bitch.
Exactly. So how that kind of is a joke in quotes, but also how can that really come back in when we come back in another lifetime and because of our actions in another form in another life, how does that action then play out in this human life on a soul?
Okay. So, it's so funny, what if our meeting today is karmic? And everyone that is listening to us, their karma sent them. So it's not going to bite anyone. We are here to uplift everyone. So karma is neither good or bad. It's just the way we see it. And good or bad are a perspective, and it's a human perspective. I suffered as a child. I hated where I lived. I hated my parents, but seeing my childhood today, I needed that in order to become me. So would I place my life? I want to say, in a way, I want to say yes, but no, because if I had a different lifestyle, if I was raised in a different environment, if I had different parents, all loving and cutting and go forward parents, probably I wouldn't do what I'm doing. So when I look at it as a perspective, yes, I suffered. Was I being punished to something I did in a different lifetime? I will say that as a child, I asked God, why are you punishing me? What have I done to be punished? But now I don't see it as a punishment. I see it as something I needed to go through in order to become who I am, to write this book, to help others. But you can see it only from perspective. You need time. And usually when we say karma is a bitch or karma hunts us or whatever, it's like now we feel miserable. Now we hate our life. Now we feel someone hates us. And we feel now we are punished. We don't have the perspective.
That's what your work does. It gives people perspective on their previous lives and why things are playing out the way they are, what this action is that they're currently living. So just explain, what is it you do? What are karmic constellations and how is that linked to family constellations?
I started as a family constellation facilitator and teacher. I taught family constellation for eight years. And family constellation have several things. It speaks about the family as a system, not only me as an individual, not only me in like my nuclear family, but the system of the family is me, my parents, my great parents, maybe my uncles. So like you look at the system in a much wider perspective, and you are being affected sometimes not by your childhood, but something that happened to your great grandmother that you're carrying as if it's yours. So I do energetic healing for 20 years. So I work with the soul realm in different ways. And in family constellation, what we do is we represent. So you can represent my great grandmother. Be her. Like you put Titania aside and you become my great grandmother. So I was wondering, can one represent the Akashic records? Can you become my Akashic records? The short story is yes. And if you can represent my Akashic records, then okay, can you represent my soul? Can you represent my past life? Can you represent soul lesson, soul contract? And I found out that yes, and yes, people can represent other elements of their life. And this is how karmic constellation was created. It's like talking about the soul system and representing it. And representing is becoming the elements in the system.
So when I was reading your book and you mentioned the representative and different, there's colors that you're using that people stand on and that represents different aspects, but also you say that you just gave the example, maybe I can stand in and represent an aspect of himself. How does that work? Because that was something that I was really struggling a little bit to kind of visualize, to understand, having not had this experience with that modality of healing. I was trying to understand. I channel, so I totally got that whole get that concept. But I was like, do you activate something in the client that allows them to tune in and channel, even though they don't realize they have that gift? Or like, how do you guide them? And you give story examples of different clients, but I'd love for you to just share the whole process. How does a person arrive at being able to tune into the representative?
So I'm also a channeler. I don't look at it as channeling, not in a way that, like I got a message from your uncle or your soul. So like I get the information and I transfer the information. When we represent, we become. So like I can be, and it's not only become people. So like you can become a great grandmother in a way when you represent, so you are in what we call the knowing field. And it's also a little bit of I see it as a quantum field. So you represent for me, and you're a plain person from the street, never channeled before. And when you go into my field, and I say, you represent my grandmother, and you take a deep breath, maybe you close your eyes, and you become a great grandmother. And how you do it, it's like first you feel or sense. It's not about what you know or information that comes. It's really a bodily experience. So what happens? Like, do you have a stomach ache or a headache? Do you feel you're settled where you are, or you need to move? Like, really, what are the sensations and emotions that go through your body? Like, do you feel love, hate, anger, fear, happiness? And it's okay if you don't feel anything. So people then, reduce the anxiety of, I need to know something about this person. You don't know anything. So it's like past life me. I don't know past life me. I don't know if this past life me were in Europe or India or Saudi Arabic. Like past life me can be anywhere. But when you become past life me, you started with sensations, bodily sensations, emotions, and then you can say, I'm a child, I'm a grown up, I'm a feminine energy, I'm a masculine. Once someone said, I'm a fox. Okay, if you feel like you are a fox, we'll go with that. So
Love that.
yes, yes. So it's really a bodily, experiential sensations.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that because when I'm working with my clients, they bring an intention for what they want to explore, and as I'm tuning in, which I do with my eyes closed, I will sometimes feel the sensation in my body, and then I will detect where it is, and then I'll say, does that resonate as truth in your body? Do
Mhm,
you feel that in your body, and are you feeling it presenting in your stomach, in your abdomen, around,
mhm,
the navel chakra? And then that sensation may move up the body, or I will detect in the thigh or in the back of the leg or somewhere a certain pain, and then we'll tune into that pain, because as you even say in your book, the body never lies. Like the body holds the truth, and we remember through those sensations. So I could understand how the feeling of that comes through. And then I was just curious because this is a very different modality to how I work, and that's one of the things I love about reading other people's books and learning about what you do, because we all have such, our spiritual gifts present in very different ways that are unique to us, and what might be right for an individual who's seeking healing. It's like going to a doctor, not everybody's going to go to a GP for a neurological surgery.
yes.
Or a heart surgeon, it depends on what it is you're seeking or what your body needs. But anyway, I just found it so interesting. And you mentioned Lee Carroll just before, and
Mhm.
Cry On. So who is Lee Carroll, and how has he influenced your work?
He is the one that channels Cryon.
Mhm.
I think he works in that field for like more than 40 years. I know his work 20 years, and his work touched me. So like when my grandmother died, I was just reading this episode in his book. It wasn't even a chapter about when people are passing away. And the synchronicity was like, wow. And I was in this beginning of my journey. So I was like really not overwhelmed, but it was so profound for me, this synchronicity, that I'm reading about people that died just like in the night that my grandmother died, like something like that. So I started following him, and I really love his channeling because he speaks about the goodness and the developmental stuff in our world. And whenever he speaks about either dropping karma or the Akashic records, because he said we can mine the Akashic records. So I started vibrating. It's like, this is the truth. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And for many years, I was listening to him. I will say that if someone wants to seek him, you just write it on Google, and he has a very big channel on YouTube. So I was like, okay, but how can I mind my Akash? Or how can I help other mind their Akash? Like, what can I do? And I tried meditation, but meditation for me was like, okay, I get to my Akash, to the cosmic library, got lots of insights. Nothing changed in my life. And I like to change my life, not to just be knowing. No, knowing doesn't give me anything. And then in the constellation, I could make movement and shift. And then I could like, oh, now I can mine my Akash or help other mine their Akash and bring resource from past life, because past life is not only about trauma, it's also about our whole life experience, what we learned, so we can take the good stuff and heal the bad stuff that we're feeling here. And he influenced my work a lot, because for me, in a way, he was the motivation to keep on searching. But I'm still like, I'm studying the 24th chromosome, which is not in the book because I started later, and it's not about karma. So I'm exploring how can we work with that in a representational aspect.
And so then, if you're looking at chromosomes, are you looking at that because of intergenerational transfer? Is that something that carries
No, the
on?
24th chromosome is quantum. We have 23.
Yes, yes.
And Cryon says that we actually have 24, and the 24 is quantum and is also the link to our starseed
Mm,
creators.
okay.
So I'm studying how can we activate it and how can we work, can we represent it or not? And what happens when we do that?
Yeah, that's cool. Actually, there's another Inner Traditions author whose book you might want to check out. I did it. She was on my podcast, and she's about activating our 12-stranded DNA and carrying that
Mm.
through. So yeah, I can send you her info later. Okay, so tell me about intergenerational transfer. What is this and how is it showing up? And within that same question, reincarnation. I totally believe in reincarnation, but is that
Mhm.
in your experience fact or is it fiction?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll say that. So most humanity believes in reincarnation.
And of course, you're in India right now.
And I'm in India right now, yeah, the land of
Belief.
reincarnation. But those are the kinds of things that I always say that when I'll die, I'll know for sure.
Then you can't tell anyone.
You know, I think even as a child, and I grew up in a one God tradition, and also a tradition that you die, you either go to hell or heaven. In a way, I think I always knew that it's a cycle and reincarnate. It sounds so logical for me. So once someone asked me, how did you come to it? And I was like, "Ooh, I think I never thought anything different. There is no logical of coming just one time. No logical at all. So I believe in that. Fact, fiction, no one knows. The internet today is full of studies with kids that have past life memories. In the country that I live, we have Druze, and Druze believe that you incarnate 7 lifetimes in the Druze community, and they
Well, how do you spell that? Juice.
Druze, D-R-U, Druze, I think S-E.
So that's an Israeli tradition that believes
No,
that?
no, 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 no. They are in Israel, Lebanon, Syria. It's an Arab, but not Muslim. It's an Arab culture.
Okay.
So they believe, and it's a quite unique culture. So they believe that you incarnate 7 lifetimes as a Druze. So you have Druze like in Israel that remember the life in Lebanon.
Mm.
And they say, yes, I was raised here and there, and this is what killed me, and now I came here, and like, or this is my neighbor, I was her mom, because they are open to it. So there are lots of stories, and they remember facts,
Oh.
and they can tell things that they are not supposed to know because they never been in this village in Lebanon, because they live in Israel and we don't go to Lebanon. There are lots of stories around that reinforce the knowledge of reincarnation. So, by effect, like you ask about transgenerational trauma. And if we would do this interview 50 years ago, you would say it's a fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing moves. But now we have epigenetics that proves scientifically that we do have transgenerational trauma. They are moving generation after generation. We don't have the tool to explore that. Not having the tool to explore something doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
That's true.
So, facts, probably we don't have the tools to explore that yet, or scientific tools.
So give an example of some transgenerational transfer. What's being transferred? Because it's not just negative trauma.
It's like past life. We have resource in our family. So for me, one of my biggest resource in my family is my dad's writing. I inherit his love for writing. That made me a writer. So, and I strongly thanks for him for doing that. So we inherit those. Or, my daughter, she's a kind of an actress. She's young, she's 18, but she was always an actress. And I was like, oh, she got it from like my husband uncle. He was a famous actor in Israel. And when I was young, I wanted to act. And we had actors in our family, both our sides. So like, and you can look at my daughter and say, oh, she got the best from both sides as an actor. So this is a resource. So we got trauma, but we also have resource. It's like, yeah, the lineage takes both.
I love that because I feel like we often focus on just the negatives that are transferred and we forget that actually we have all these beautiful gifts that come through and sometimes you can't explain why. Why do you love to cook? It's not just
Yes,
because you're into food, you know?
exactly. Yes, and sometimes, your parents are not cooking,
Yes,
but your grandmother was like the cuisine everyone went, or your great grandmother, and it hid for several generations, and then you picked it up. I will say that for us as therapists, people comes only for their traumas.
of course. Well, that's because they want to unblock and that makes total sense. And it's a beautiful gift to be able to guide people through that. And
Yes,
okay, so I wanted to just come back to channeling again because you work with a group of consciousness called the group.
the group.
Who are the group, and was it through your work with Lee Carroll that they started to work with you, or have you always been in touch with them?
So I have no idea who the group are because, and I think they gave me this name because I'm strongly against I channel this entity, like specific entity. It becomes like in the beginning anyway. I felt like, oh, you channel like Raphael, you channel Michael and Michael. So like I don't care who I'm channeling. So the group is really like. And holistic word doesn't say anything. I think this is why I never asked them. For me, what was important to me is how I felt when I channel. That's the only thing I care of. But I did ask, who are you? Because people like a signature. So do I. We like to label. So I needed a name. I always knew I'm a trance medium, but I was afraid of that. Really afraid of that. And 16 years ago, 17 years ago, I was pregnant with my third child and I shut it down. Like I said, I don't want to, it's drawing me. I don't like it. I don't know if what I'm channeling is good or bad. I went into the dark night of the soul and I put it aside. And what happened in the book was my editor was asking me all kinds of questions that like I explained and then I tried to explain in a different way and she still didn't figure it out. And for me, it was very clear, there are things that are so obvious for you because you live this life, but the one in front of you, they don't live this life. So, and also she's the editor. She needs to not understand.
Yeah, no, we're 100%. I need to break it
Yes,
down so people who are interested can get it, you know.
yes.
Hmm.
I was so frustrated. And then I felt this energy in my back coming like inside of me. And I said, open your mic. I have a message. And they start to speak.
Mm.
And she was like sitting with a wow, that's profound. And then we decided, I think in that day we had two messages. One was about the Akashic Records, and I don't remember the other one. But I felt okay, I'm okay with that. Also, she's one person, and it's like a general message, not one-to-one message. And I said, okay, profound messages. Let's do the whole book. So we were actually in the end of the book. The Akashic Records is the last chapter. And he said, okay, let's go back and channel every chapter. And that was amazing because there are parts in the book that I channeled and I had no idea about that. Like they give me a whole new information and I was like, wow. So, but this is how it is. Like, in a way, the book brought me back to be a trans medium and channel that way.
And you do talk about that in your book, and I particularly enjoyed reading the group's. Well, I was going to say interpretation, but it's not an interpretation. It's their delivery of the information, and it's a nice contrast to your human understanding of it, and then to have the spiritual, this higher consciousness, matter of factly describing it, I think is really cool. So let's talk about some of that. What are the Akashic records and how are they describing it? I mean, you also describe it too, but I think we have a general understanding for people that might be familiar with the Akashic records as this place of knowledge. But
Yeah.
what is it?
20 years ago, when I started, more than 20 years, we actually called it the Cosmic Library. So there are people even today that say, oh, I understand the Cosmic Library, but what are the Akashic Records? It's the same. And in that time, we all describe it as you go into this big library. But actually, you go into whatever meets you, and I don't think it's really like with books, but it's the place that contain all the data of this incarnation or all the incarnation. Actually, today I see it like a computer farm,
Hmm.
a cloud. So, like when we die, we take this discon key and we go to the farm of our computer. We place the discon key with all the information of our life in this huge computer farm. And when we reincarnate, we say, okay, all our past life are stored in one place. I want this information, that information. And we take everything in the discon key and bring it back with us to a new incarnation.
Hmm.
So it's a place that contains all the knowledge about our experiences, about what we have learned, about our trauma, everything that we ever experienced on Earth.
And why would we want to tap into that?
First, we are living our Akashic records when we incarnate because past life memories are from the Akashic records. And they are there whether we are aware of them or not, whether we want those memories or not. Some of the memories are, again, in order to motivate us to change. Some are like a pattern that is stuck and maybe we didn't even want it, but it's there. So when we're tapping back to the Akashic records, it's about resource or healing. We can go and reduce the trauma energy or even heal the trauma energy of past life, and then we heal our life here, or bring resource. Maybe I'm a sick person and I have all those patterns of being sick in my life, but I had several lifetimes that I was healthy and I died healthy. Why not bring those memories to my body today? Like open my innate, open my cell system, my DNA, and say, okay, this memory belongs to me because my soul is within me. My body knows how to be a healthy body. And that can bring a lot of relief to the body. Maybe it will not heal you. It depends what you have,
And
but it can,
your soul journey, of course.
yes, yes, but it can really change things in your life. So this is why we need to tap into the Akashic records in order to bring more resource to this life, or again, to heal past life, and then you heal this incarnation, or you're taking less traumas.
You're obviously visiting India now, and so the Akash is considered uh, the ethers, the fifth element. And so in the area of the Akash, yeah, you can work with the goddess Prakriti as a symbolic energy for the Akash, and tune in a way that will open you up, if you so desire, to the receiving the downloads of information that you might need for healing in that moment. My teacher is from the caste Nepali tradition, which is he's a 27th generation Nepali shaman, and so this is a belief system that they very much subscribe to, and it's quite beautiful, actually. And when I do fire ceremonies and rituals, I will offer then to the Akash, into the fire first,
Mhm.
but then also to the Akash, and be releasing what no longer serves, but also to open up to what I need to receive, this wisdom that I need to come and embody. May I embody it now, as my nervous system is ready to hold this information.
First, I love it. I didn't know about the god of karma, the goddess. I love that.
Well, it wouldn't, she's not the god of karma necessarily.
Yes, Saturn is the god of karma. I just learned it today. But we can work with karmic constellation with Vedic astrology.
I was
It's
going to ask you this
profound.
question, actually. I would literally, it was the very last thing I was curious about. And it came to me last night. And I wondered, yes, so please share, since you've just brought it up. How so? How can we work with astrology and karma?
Two ways. So I'm not a Vedic astrology, but some of my students are. So
Mm.
I did in the book, it's called the Systemic Lab. I changed the name to Spiritual Exploration Lab. So I explore that. And I had a client that said, like, Vedic astrology said she needed to chant specific things,
That's the
wanted
prescription
to
of, yeah,
charge,
mantras.
wanted to charge a lot of money for him to chant for her. And so I said, okay, I actually charge less, but it's working. And we did a constellation. We just brought the element of the Vedic. So we can bring the stars, but again, not in the Western point of view. And every star has its ruler. And like, again, I don't know Vedic astrology, but you can bring or the essence, and then you do the past life, and you see how they are connected,
Wow.
and you can disentangle this connection.
Wow.
And I did a session with the Vedic astrology, and she can see in the chart the energy shifts,
Mm.
which is amazing. I still didn't figure out how she do it, but she can say, and she was saying, like, for someone that felt really like stuck in her business, she said, you're stuck because in your previous lifetime you betrayed many people. So we brought all those lifetime that she betrayed those people. We brought all those people again by representing. She was acknowledging their pain and ask for their forgiveness. And this Vedic astrology said, that's okay. There is a shift in your chart.
I think that's fascinating, and I can imagine like that would be such a powerful reading to do it with you and a Vedic astrologer. But that's why, and I was wondering last night, like how, if in this lifetime, this human form, it's mapped out, and Vedic astrology is quite different to Western astrology. How then does that relate to these different lives? Because we do, as they show in your chart, these different transit points of different points of, years, 7 years or 12 years or different, that your soul is on this journey in this lifetime because of various things. And then when they're prescribing, whether it's through different gemstones or the mantra work or rituals that you have to be doing, those are like legit prescriptions to counteract the karma from another
Exactly.
lifetime. Yeah, and so that you can move forward now and not be affected by the malefic aspects, right? So
Yeah.
it's so interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's so interesting. Again, I don't do Vedic astrology, but really when I have the information from the Vedic astrology, I can place it in a karmic constellation and work with it.
Yeah, that would be super powerful for a client. Amazing.
Yes,
Yeah, cool.
yes.
And so, okay, so what are soul contracts then? And I love how the group, their description of that, which totally
Okay.
resonated with me.
I also love their description, but a soul contract is the way I see it, and it's also easier to explain, is with people. Like we have soul lessons is for me, for myself, but a soul contract is maybe me, you and I, we make a soul contract to come and meet. But the powerful soul contract is we did soul contract with our parents. We said, I choose you. They said, we choose you. And there are many reasons why we choose each other, not all happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the essence of a soul contract that might not hold us back, but will be hard. But also, we have soul contracts like you and I, we are uplifting each other, or my best friend. So, in a way, we have everyone that's surrounding us, we have kind of a soul contract with like we'll be in the same place, the same time. We'll either help each other or not help each other in order to succeed in your life. So it's not like a lawyer contract. There is no sign here, here, and here, and you cannot go out of it. No court of law that will say you didn't fulfill your soul contract. It's more of, and this is what the group say, actually, it's not a contract, it's an agreement. And I found it really profound when they say it.
Mm.
And when they say it in Hebrew, but also when I channeled, I already saw the English. It's like, I agree. In Hebrew and in English, it's like the same,
Wow.
contained the same. I agree to come with you.
Mm.
And that makes it, it's about taking responsibility of a life instead of I signed something that I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Agreeing is saying yes to something that is hard. I agreed for my parents. I agreed for the awful place I was raised in. And then there is nothing, no one to blame but my soul. And it brings you a different perspective and ability to handle life.
Yes. And what I also liked was that the group says we have the ability to also dissolve the agreement to step away, that we're not like, because it's not a signed piece of paper, we're not legally bound, and that we have the ability to, I guess, relinquish, or, when we feel that agreement has run its course, that we
Mhm.
we can now separate or move on. And so I really love that, because I did actually think, oh my God, like soul count, like, are we committed? Like, what's going to happen? Like, if I don't want to be with this person, I have this interaction with them. When I leave this human form, I'm going to come back and be in some kind of, penance or suffering because I didn't want to be with this person anymore. I did actually think that.
Wow. So, this thought of belief is actually very common for my Indian student mainly, because it's like I have lots of clients that say like I'm married with him and
Mm,
I'm suffering, but this is karma. And I say, where does it written that karma means you need to die suffering?
yeah,
You
no.
need to be married to this person until you die.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't written in any place. You understand that you're suffering, you want to step out, you can do something to change.
Yes. And I definitely had that recognition with myself a couple of years ago, and I was really
Mm,
like, nope, I'm done in this relationship. I'm not. There's no joy. There is no joy in my heart, and
mm.
I know for a fact this has run its course, and I knew that, and I was doing my own inner work around all of that, releasing and so on. But yeah, I still couldn't help but have this thought, like, what the back of my head. But
Yes, and we can change. I had a very miserable time with my husband. And actually, I went to a channel and she said, you need to divorce. It's like you end the soul contract. And I came back home and I said, let's divorce. And he said, never. And it brought me into an inner work and eventually brought us together to a work. And after that, and we went to a couple consulting, and it was like our second marriage. It's like we performed a whole new soul contract,
How
which
interesting.
was really different from the first one. So, it's like you can get divorced, that's okay. And you can work to change that also okay. There isn't like one way,
Mhm.
but you can change. I think the word is change.
Yeah, evolve. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So soul lessons are different to soul contracts, and that really pertains to the individual.
Yes. We struggle with money, all of us in the universe. It's a soul lesson. What do we want to learn about money, relationship with money, or femininity? We struggle with that. So we want to learn about femininity, or we want to learn about masculinity, everything like that. So soul lessons are, again, good or bad. I'm writing. It's a learning progress. I'm developing through writing. So it's also a soul lesson, but it's not like really difficult for me. But let's say I'm struggling with money. It's also what I need to learn about money, or what I need to learn about myself while dealing or handling with money. Maybe I need to learn to demand more money, to be assertive, to be on my own. There are so many things we can learn, yes? And it's not something that we really can know, oh, this is my soul lesson. Usually a soul lesson will be, oh, it comes back again. Oh, I'm still I have problems with money, or still I have problems with relationship, finding someone. It's like something that we work on again and again and again. Usually there is something to learn there.
So you can grasp that concept of having to,
Yes.
and if we're not learning the lesson, then it's being on repeat. Like we'll continually, something will be shown to us again until we go, aha, now I realize why I'm making the same mistake over and over again. And then you're able to move on. And
Yes.
so what about a fragmented soul? Because in your book you have, and I loved how the group broke that down as well, in terms of it not that our soul's not fragmented in the way that the shamanic view describes it.
Yes. And I will say that so even today when I teach, I like teach soul fragment because it's easier to grasp that. And it's like soul fragments are like, everyone speaks about soul fragments. No one speaks about consciousness memory stuck in time. And the way we look at soul fragments is about whenever something traumatic happens to you, and in a way, the soul decides what trauma is, not us. Something is like the soul is being split, and some part of it remains in this trauma. It can be a minor car accident, or you were in class and your teacher shouted at you and you felt ashamed. Something split it, and it can be really a horrible, traumatic stuff. So there is no guarantee when it will happen or not. What happens is that the more you have soul fragments, it will be harder for us to live fully our life. And we have past life fragments. And so we want, like, 2 days ago, I had a client, she came to me with, I don't know what path to take right now. I feel stuck. And what came up was like 3 lifetimes with the soul fragment. Each lifetime wanted something else from life. And in order for her to not feel stuck, or to the representation of stuckness to move out of the field, we needed to work about the soul fragment coming back home. It's like you're missing your hand. Someone cuts your hand, you're not a complete person, and now it's time to bring back your hand. And then when your hand is back, you can go back writing or painting or do whatever you do with your hand. It's like you got it back. And it really feels like a reunion between a mom and a child, but there is something that was missing, and now the soul is fuller or more full and more capable to deal with stuff in her life.
Yeah, it's so interesting because in my work I also use the term soul fragment or fragmented souls because that it I agree it does make sense. And when I'm working with my clients, and not everybody has that those aspects that are affecting their life. Uh,
Mhm,
and I often don't know until I'm working with the client, right? You probably the same. And so
mhm,
when I'm seeing, because again, I'm doing with my eyes closed, I'll see, and then I have a few clients that really, it's so unique the way it presents and how my gift, I can actually see that aspect, that piece of the soul, or that piece of when I was reading in your book and how the group are describing it as fragmented consciousness. It made sense to me because I went,
mm,
wow, okay, this is what I'm seeing, this aspect of the self, which I also saw as interpreted as the soul. But I literally would see, so I had this one client, and she had created this very safe space for herself outside of her body, on the left side of her
mm,
body, as a cage, an iron cage. And iron is a very strong metal energetically, but also in the material world. And she had kept, it was keeping this aspect of herself very safe because of something that had happened in her childhood. And then we had to work to guide this aspect back into wholeness and reintegrate. And it was a beautiful experience for her. And then the weeks that followed after that, she just had so many amazing breakthroughs. I have this other client, and it was a very different representation of how he was keeping himself safe. He was actually keeping himself safe in a box, this aspect of his inner child, his consciousness buried quite deep within his physical body,
mm.
very protected. And when he finally was ready to be seen, it had been decades, and it was just incredible. In fact, we were both crying because I was feeling the love. I was feeling the outpour, this incredible outpour of love that was coming for him to finally be seen and reintegrate with himself in wholeness. And it was such a beautiful experience. So I loved how they described that. And I think more work needs to be explained and shared around these fragmented aspects of ourselves because there's so many of us, I
So
think.
many.
We don't even realize that we're going through life not whole, not complete, feeling that
Yeah,
lack.
I will say that today it's not my work, but all those inner child work, it's about our fragmented part
Mm.
from childhood. And what you described something was really interesting. Also, I like people come to a karmic constellation. If there is a soul fragment, I cannot do anything but bring the soul fragment together. So whatever the issue is, I cannot work on the issue. I have to bring those parts together. I never know when it will be a soul fragment or not. But what happens is when the soul and the fragment are becoming together, the issue like is either is not relevant or not needed anymore. It's like you don't really need to work on the issue. The issue is there because of the fragments.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like that moment that shattered that person where whatever it was, really and shattering is the only word because it's something in
Yes.
that moment completely you disassociate from these aspects of yourself. And we then learn to keep ourselves safe. And we don't even remember in our like our human memory, we don't even remember. That's the interesting thing, which is why
Yes.
we talk, you talk about how the body feels from that's a place of remembrance. That's the true place of remembrance. And I
Yeah.
never, with my clients, say, "Do you remember? Do you remember?" Like we're not going back and
No,
remembering
no, no.
a storyline. It's fear.
No, and many times disassociation, it's a hint for soul formation.
Oh, I love chatting to you. Okay, so curses and vows. So you talk about this as well. What is a curse and what is a vow? And like are these real things? How are they affecting us?
There are real things. I think all tradition speaks about them. For me, when I grew up, I didn't grow in an environment that believed in neither of them. So it was really surprising for me to see them in the constellation. I started with vows, but and after I realized there are vows, so curses were like, okay. So it's not something I grew up on, but I will say that in Judaism, you shouldn't vow. Like many times, religious people will say, "I'll come and visit you." No vowing, not even no promise. It's like no vowing, because we know that vows are like holding us.
They're a bind.
A bind, yes. So vows are mainly for ourselves. Like I'll vow to, I'll be a better person, just God protect my children. Okay, something like that. It's like something we are promising someone else. Many times we promise God, whatever God we believe in, to do something in order that something else will happen. It's an inner promise. And what makes vow important is, or bounding, it's the amount of emotions we have within it. I promise to never to don't have kids in order that you, my husband, will feel ashamed of your manhood because you don't have kids. I had a session like that. So we promise from distress, and the amount of emotion, that's what bonds us to the vow. And sometimes to other, because I do have vows like I'll hunt you forever.
Mm.
And when people say I'll hunt you forever, they don't think about forever as eternity, really forever. But then they are really hunting each other life after life after life.
Mm.
And it's entangle those two people together. And vows that I made, I can break. Vows that someone else made that I know him, like my dad, I cannot break. I need him to break it.
And
Vows that
what would that
someone,
vow be like if someone made a vow for you? What's an example of that?
so I discovered that me and my sister, we made a vow to never leave each other. And like when I do past life regression to myself, I always see her. And actually, she's always my sister in a way. And I was like understanding that it's not good for us anymore. Like I love my sister dearly, but each one of us need to take our own path. Not, maybe not in this lifetime, but in the next, like we are stick together. And it's like we cannot choose. We have to maintain this vow. So yeah, I asked her to sit with me to look at, we did it on Zoom actually, but to look at the eyes of each other and to let go. It took me 3 years to do that.
Wow.
Since I realized we have this vow and I asked her to release me until we finally met and released each other. And we speak openly. I have clients that their father are the one that made the vow and like they don't speak with their father.
How did that affect your actual physical relationship then?
With my
The
sister,
difference? Yeah, with your sister.
I don't feel any, but that was like one of the reasons it took us so long is because there was a fear that if we'll break the vow, we won't be in relationship anymore.
Okay.
And I say, the vow doesn't allow us to, it takes your free will. And I love you. I choose to be your sister, to be with contact with you. I don't know what will happen when I'll break it, but if I'm going to my free will will still be to be your sister.
And if you break a vow, is that like cord cutting, energetically cutting cords with somebody?
I don't think it's a cord cutting, and it's not a term I use, but it's a specific cord you're cutting. Yes. But again, like if my dad took a vow regarding me, I need him to break it.
Okay. Okay. And so what about curses then?
So curses is
Oh, so
something,
wait, oh, wait, we'll just quickly. Okay, well, your dad's passed away, so then
yes,
you can never have him.
that's good. Now I can release this vow, but as long as
Ah,
is he
okay,
alive?
you can. Okay, so if someone
Yes,
passes away, you're able to perhaps work with them, and
yes,
then you're released from that vow in this life.
yes.
Okay, but it won't repeat.
Think,
You won't still be bound to each other.
yes, think about it. So when he's dead and he's in the spirit realm, he wants to progress also. The vow is bonding both of us.
Okay.
So in the spiritual realm, we don't want that, but we can release vows only in body, in a physical body, because a body said, I vow to. So a body needs to say, I release this vow. So my dad is dead. I have representation for him, and the representation says that's okay to release.
Okay, that makes sense. That's cool. What
Yeah.
about a curse? What is a curse?
If a vow is I'm vowing to myself, curses is I'm cursing someone else.
Mhm.
And many times, when do we curse? Again, when we are fear of something and we have a lots of pain. And many times we are powerless, and that gives us a sense of power. Because if I curse you, I'm doing something to you. I don't feel helplessness. I feel that I do something. Again, curses are bounding us together. There are influence. You know, when we see all those movies about magic and they say all the time that magic have consequences to do magic, it's the same.
Yeah.
The consequences is that we are bound together. So you see that in a session, nothing moves because there is a curse. Usually, when there is a curse, I don't know who made the curse. I haven't had any session that my dad cursed me, or my mom, or my friend, or my ex. It's always like someone in the past that curses you, and it can be like in past life you weren't a magnificent person. I had this session that past life her was like this Don Juan person that used a lot of women and manipulated a lot of women, and like really, yeah, did bad things. So all the women, they cursed him.
Wow.
So it was like a collective curse of women cursing this person, and we needed to release that. So I don't know who those women are, but you can see it by representing that it's in the field, and we can ask for those women to release this curse.
In my teacher's tradition, they really believe in curses. And several years ago, I was in Nepal with him and I participated in a ritual for curses known and unknown, the release of curses known and unknown. And it was very powerful and it took like 7 hours to prepare. And they also said that some of the like a known curse could be something where someone talks badly of you, or an unknown curse could be something where nature can curse because we've come in and we've deforested,
Mm-hmm.
the Amazon, for example, right? Like cut down trees and things, or like, slaughtered a bunch of animals, and so therefore they can actually curse you. So it was
Oh,
interesting what they consider a curse, an unknown curse, but also known curses. And so there was some really significant things that they prepare and do in order to release those curses from you. It's older than time, isn't it? All these things they go
yeah,
back.
yeah. And it's older than time, and it's such a human behavior, to be angry at someone, to be pissed at someone, to feel helplessness.
Yeah.
And
There's
vows
power
and
in the
curses.
word, right? There's power in the word. I mean, again, you're in India, a place where mantra is super powerful and used every day for things, So those mantras are very symbolic. They're not just singing something, they're literally chanting very powerful bija sounds that have activations that reverberate energetically, move the body and shift things. And they work. There's a lot of, evidence that they work.
You know the word abracadabra
Yes,
for
yes.
magicians? So it's I will manifest or I will create what I'm speaking of.
Yes.
And again, in curses, also in vows, the emotions are so heavy and deep, and that manifests actually a bonding between the both of us, entanglement, and now we are going a life after life until someone will do something to release.
But the good news is it can be released. And
Yes.
through your work, you can actually guide and help people to do that.
Yes, yes. And again, it's like soul retrieval, soul fragments. I never know that it's there until I do the session. I have people that come and say, I feel cursed, nothing works up. And then it's a soul lesson or a trauma from past life. And there are people that just come and suddenly I had this woman, she was like she was divorced and looking for another man.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, what came is a vow she had with their ex in a previous lifetime. And like they divorced, they had this, he left her, it was like an horrible divorce. The vow that they made in the different lifetime, holding her to not finding anyone.
It's not crazy. Um,
Yes.
I think all of these spiritual tools that are available to us are of such great benefit because it teaches us to really live consciously and fully so that we can embody love and really come
Yes.
from this place of loving awareness so that we're not just spewing forth words that are harming others, potentially forever. you know.
Yeah, but also when we harm other,
Yeah, you harm yourself too, right?
yes. So it's like, don't do it to yourself. I don't care about the other person. Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, I think that's something people don't realize that it actually does come back to you. Yeah, my teacher also says that in Nepal and in India, there are individuals that can actually perform curses and so on for you. But he also warns those people know how to protect themselves because they've been employed by you to do your dirty work, and they
And
also
what
know
I
how to
found out,
protect themselves, but you don't.
yes,
So
and I
beware of
found
that.
out
Mm.
that they might be caught also.
Mm.
So I performed several past life sessions that the one that created the curse said, I'm just the messenger. But he was in the field anyway.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
So let's end on a positive note.
Great.
What else would you like to share? Or, what is the importance of really understanding our karma?
I'm not sure that understanding our karma is what's important because karma is huge. It's not really understanding karma, but actually for me, it's releasing what we can release in order to have a better life in this lifetime. It's evolving, being better humans, and getting to know this better human that I am actually by releasing all those patterns and belief system and sometimes what we were taught that are not allowing us to be ourselves. So it's more about releasing. We are in a lifetime that we don't need to hold those energies anymore. I will say, like, again, I don't know astrology, but we are in times that Saturn is shifting and we are in time that astrology are time for dropping karma. And the more we do the work on ourselves, the more we drop karma. And we can become us, more us.
Our true essence.
Yes, yes. The divine essence that we are.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Okay, where can we find your information? And do you have any courses or classes or material online?
I have lots of material online. You can find everything in my website. It's www.yaeleini, YAELEINI.com. Most of the materials are there. I teach globally online, and yeah, you can just visit the website. And also, I'll say on my YouTube channel, there are lots of small exercise that one can shift their karma by doing them.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. And so
Yeah.
that you can get there from your website, just go and you can get to a YouTube channel from there.
You can, I don't know if it's on my website, so you can just look me up on YouTube.
Okay. And you are also on Instagram, and then we can buy your book wherever books are sold.
Yes. Oh, yeah, Amazon, all the online bookstores. And also, I have books in London and in the bookstores.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.